Now, I took the liberty, and this is obviously debatable, guys, but I'm channeling my inner David Letterman here to put together some of in the form of a top 10 list, some of the top security soft spots or things that either are misconfigured or result in security exposures within Jenkins. So things like weak authentication, default or weak credentials for Jenkins admins and users. Authorization bypass, so insufficient access controls leading to unauthorized access to Jenkins resources, right? Plug-in vulnerabilities. This is one of my favorites. Again, it's that trade-off between the tool becoming extensible, the community embracing that extensibility, and that becoming an obvious attack vector for third parties, right? And ultimately, being able to have to also monitor, even in a even if the author is not somebody that's malicious, there's going to be CVEs there that potentially could be exploitable inside of that code. It's a lot like having to monitor the vulnerabilities of any open source that you bring in, right? It's sort of just a smaller version of that. Cross-site request forgery, again, I think there's some protections there. This is more about, is it configured correctly, right? So is there some human error there? Script security, again, I think, that's fairly self-evident. This is another one that I think is often overlooked, right? Is unsecured communication. So are the API and webhook calls that are being made leveraging SSL or TLS? Are they doing this appropriately? So again, or communication between Jenkins master and slave nodes, are those happening in a secure manner? Information disclosure. This is another one that I think is one of those things where if you get in there and excessive information exposed in error messages through Jenkins APIs, another issue, right? And I think, being able to solve for that or being able to monitor those types of things. Insecure Jenkins configurations. And again, this goes to, sort of human error, right? I think one of the things that I'm a big believer in, and if I take a step back for just a moment, around just the CI/CD process, the whole software delivery process for that matter, right? There are so many things to keep your eye on and so many configurations and things that need to be configured or things that need to be tweaked in order to get something to work. And we're all obviously under a lot of pressure to make something work, right? And without some sort of overlay of, hey, let's check, or some automation around checking some of these things, we can result in just mistakes, human error, right? Insecure Jenkins configurations are oftentimes just a result of human error. Outdated Jenkins versions. It's funny, I had a conversation with another colleague about this the other day where, we were debating the whole, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And, I think, keeping, you don't need to be on the bleeding edge per se if you don't have that appetite for risk, but being on extremely old versions that have known security vulnerabilities is, again, another just one of those things where it's a fixable problem, but we often just sort of overlook it, right? And then lack of monitoring and logging, inadequate monitoring and logging of Jenkins activities, making it harder to detect and respond to security incidents, right? So again, I think setting that up and being able to make sure that you're monitoring these things. A lot of times you're just looking for anomalous behavior, right? You're looking for something strange that you haven't seen before, and a system that'll ultimately go ahead and monitor for that and let you know when something like that pops up. So, I mean, guys, this is far from an exhaustive list, but I think, these are the things that I think, for me anyway, sort of in my experience, fall into, the things that have that balance of, they're dangerous, but they're also things that we can do something about. There's action that can be taken there directly in terms of the way we manage and monitor our Jenkins systems.